Her children were banned from her mom's 60th birthday because the party was adults only. But then she saw everyone else bringing their kids. Your children wouldn't fit in, Linda said. So she left early. The next day, she did this, and everyone went crazy. Hi, her name is Maya Bennett. She's 29, married, has 2 sons, and a master's degree in special education. She works full-time at a public elementary school and somehow still finds the time to remember everyone's birthdays in her extended family, usually before they do. And yet, despite all that, she spent most of her life being told she's too sensitive, too intense, or her personal favorite, just looking for attention. Middle child syndrome? She used to think that was it. She has an older brother named Greg, who's a dentist, and a younger sister named Molly, who still refers to herself as the baby, even though she's 26 and owns a photography business. Maya? She's the one who always volunteered to host, always made sure everyone's kids had a place to nap, and always picked up the slack when someone forgot to bring a dish to family events. But none of that stopped her from being treated like the family afterthought. So when she got the invitation to her mom's 60th birthday party, she'll admit she was caught off guard. First of all, it was formal, like printed in the mail, formal. Her mom is an ex-event planner, so that part wasn't surprising. What was surprising was the tiny italicized note at the bottom. Adults only, please. Let's keep it classy. She read it 3 times, then again, then handed it to her husband Jason and said, "Is it just me, or does that sound pointed?" He squinted. "You mean like pointed at us? Or at Owen?" Owen's her oldest. He's 7, brilliant, funny, a walking encyclopedia of dragon lore thanks to his obsession with How to Train Your Dragon. He's also autistic, which, in her family, basically makes him a unicorn everyone pretends not to see. Theo, her younger one, is 5 and the kind of kid who charms cashiers without trying. But both her kids have been to every birthday party, every reunion, every awkward Thanksgiving. And not once have they ever been told not to bring them. So yeah, it felt targeted. But she didn't want to start drama. That's the thing about being called dramatic your whole life. Eventually, you start walking on eggshells just to prove you're not. So she booked a sitter, got a dress, and RSVP'd yes. The party was held at this upscale winery just outside of town. Very Instagram birthday. Valet parking, string lights, a cake so big it probably had its own zip code. She walked in alone, already a little on edge from the whole exclusion thing. And then she saw it. The kids' table, balloons, tiny plates, folded name cards with glittery marker letters, and sitting there, laughing, eating cake, having the time of their lives, were her nieces, nephews, and half a dozen cousins' kids. She stood frozen in the doorway like someone had slapped her. Not metaphorically. She mean actually slapped her. Because she didn't misunderstand. She wasn't overreacting. She was excluded. Her kids were excluded. She tried to give Linda the benefit of the doubt. Maybe something changed last minute. Maybe Linda told her it was adults only and forgot to tell everyone else. That would be bad, yes, but maybe not malicious. Then she saw the balloon artist, and the magician, and the freaking puppet stage. She found her mom, Linda, near the patio, drink in hand, laughing with Greg and Molly. Linda looked surprised to see her. "Maya," Linda said, like Maya was the one who showed up uninvited. "Isn't this beautiful?" Maya didn't waste time. "I thought this was an adults-only party." Linda blinked at her, tilted her head like Maya was the problem. "Oh, well, it was just easier to say that. You know how Owen can be." Maya just stared at her. Linda smiled. Tight. Polite. "Your children wouldn't fit in." There it was. Not a misunderstanding. Not a mistake. A decision. Her kids, the ones she had to explain the party to, and then lie about why they couldn't come, were intentionally left out. Because they didn't fit in. Not all kids, just hers. Molly chimed in from behind her wine glass. I'm sure you understand. And in that moment, she did. Oh, she understood perfectly. She didn't say a word. She didn't make a scene. She just turned around, walked past the magician pulling scarves out of his sleeve, past the bubble machine, past the glittery name cards, and out to her car. She sat in the driver's seat, dress bunched up under her, hands shaking. And she realized something she should have realized years ago. They never wanted her children to fit in, because they never wanted her to. She didn't sleep that night. She laid there staring at the ceiling, one arm draped across her forehead like she was in some kind of Victorian melodrama, while Jason snored beside her like a man unbothered by generational trauma. She kept replaying it in her head. Linda's voice, that cool, patronizing smile, and those 4 words that landed like a punch she didn't see coming. Your children wouldn't fit in. Not couldn't come. Not it was an oversight. They wouldn't fit in. Like pieces from the wrong puzzle. Like they didn't belong. She thought about Owen, sitting cross-legged on the living room rug, wearing his homemade dragon wings, explaining for the 20th time how Toothless's tail fin works. She thought about Theo chiming in with completely unrelated dinosaur facts just to feel involved, and she thought, this wasn't new. This wasn't even surprising. It was just the first time they'd been so blatant about it. Let's rewind. Growing up, she was the sensitive one, the moody one, and of course, the attention seeker. Which is hilarious, by the way. You know what gets you less attention in a family like hers? Crying, having opinions, being different, want to be invisible at a Carter family dinner? Just express a feeling. When she was 9, she wrote a poem for a school project about feeling lonely. She read it to her mom, thinking maybe Linda would say something nice. Linda looked up from her magazine and said, "Oh, sweetie, you don't have to make everything about you." Another time, she had a panic attack during a family vacation. She was 15. Couldn't breathe, chest tight, tunnel vision, the whole thing. Her dad asked if she was faking. Linda told her to go lie down until you can behave normally again. Meanwhile, Krishu once stubbed his toe and got 3 people rushing over with ice and a pillow to elevate it on. She learned pretty quickly that the only acceptable emotion in their house was neutral cheerfulness. Be pleasant. Be quiet. Be easy. She was none of those things. And now Owen? Well, he's not either. Not because he doesn't try. God, he tries. But he was born into a world that doesn't always make sense to him, and he's doing his best to decode it. One dragon fact at a time. He got his diagnosis last year after a long, exhausting process that involved more paperwork than buying their house. When she told her parents, Linda blinked like Maya had just informed her Owen had 3 heads. "Oh, well," Linda said, stirring her tea. "You always were theatrical." Right. Because autism is just a new form of attention-seeking, apparently. Like they both caught it from the same imaginary virus. Jason was ready to go no contact then and there. She wasn't. She still had this tiny, traitorous hope that they'd come around. That if she explained enough times, if she proved Owen was smart and kind and worthy, they'd get it. They didn't. They'd say things like, "He's so intense." Maybe if he socialized more? Do you think he uses it as an excuse? Meanwhile, Theo, who's loud and wiggly and forgets to flush the toilet 40% of the time, got nothing but praise. Such a good little boy. Look at those manners. He's just so easy. She started seeing the pattern. Easy equals lovable. Difficult equals tolerated. Autistic equals excluded. And not just by accident, on purpose. Like at the birthday party. She didn't get it at first, but now she does. That invite wasn't about keeping things classy. It was about keeping things comfortable. For them. Because Owen, God forbid, might talk too much about dragons. Or get overstimulated by the noise. Or not play normally. or just exist in a way that makes people squirm because it's not what they're used to. But you know what else makes people squirm? Truth. And the truth is, her family has never known what to do with her either. When she got a scholarship to college? Wow, didn't expect that. When she bought their first house? Must be nice to have a husband who handles money well. When she started teaching? Oh, so you just play with kids all day? Every accomplishment she's had has been reduced to luck, or Jason, or her being extra. Every hard moment she's faced has been reframed as her own fault for being difficult. When she had postpartum depression, Linda suggested she try smiling more. When Owen's diagnosis came, her dad, Robert, said, "I'm sure he'll grow out of it." Like you did. She didn't grow out of anything. She grew through it. Through their silence, through their jokes, through every offhand comment that told her she was wrong for being the way she was. And now she's supposed to swallow that same poison when it's directed at her son? Number. No, thank you. It's weird how fast things click into place when you finally stop making excuses for people. By the next morning, she knew what she had to do. Jason was already on board. "We're done, right?" he said over coffee. She nodded. "Yeah, we're done." But before she could take a breath, the photos started rolling in. Facebook, Instagram, a text from her cousin Paige. Why weren't the boys there? They had a whole dragon-themed craft table. Owen would have lost his mind. Yes, Paige, he would have. There were group shots of the kids' table, pictures of Theo's cousins playing tag in matching outfits, a video of the puppet show, dragon-themed, of course, while her son sat at home asking her why they couldn't go to Grandma's birthday. And the kicker? That craft table? She helped pay for it. Yeah. The party was funded collectively. Her siblings and she all chipped in based on their income. Since she and Jason earned more than Greg and Molly, they contributed more. So to recap, she paid for the event. She paid for the entertainer. She paid for the crafts. And her children were intentionally excluded from enjoying any of it. At that point, it stopped being just personal. It became disrespect, disregard, disposability. So she wrote an email. Calm, polite, clear. "Hi, Mom. I noticed the party was not, in fact, adults only. I also noticed that the children's activities I helped pay for were enjoyed by every kid except mine. I'd like a refund of our contribution, as the event was misrepresented. Additionally, Jason and I will not be attending the upcoming family reunion. We're taking a step back for now. Maya." No anger. No long explanation. Just facts. The fallout? Oh, it's coming. But she will come to this later. Right now, she's just sitting there, watching Owen build a cardboard dragon out of cereal boxes, while Theo tries to convince her it breathes real fire. And for the first time in a long time, she feels something close to peace. Here's a fun fact about people who treat you like you're disposable. They tend to panic when you actually dispose of them. She sent that email to her mom, short, direct, nothing dramatic. She hit send, closed her laptop, and immediately felt like she needed a drink and a nap at the same time. Jason raised his coffee in a little silent toast. To choosing violence politely, she gave him a weak smile. To pissing off the entire Carter family before 10 a.m. And then they waited. It only took 3 hours. Her mom didn't call, of course not. Linda forwarded the email to the family group chat with a single comment above it. "I'm just so hurt. I don't even know how to respond to this classic passive aggression in Helvetica." The responses started rolling in like an avalanche of emotional manipulation. From Molly, "I just don't get why you're doing this to Mom. She worked so hard on that party." From Greg, "We all know Owen struggles with big events. Maybe Mom was trying to protect him from her Aunt Colleen, who wasn't even at the party. I think Maya's just overwhelmed. New school year, 2 kids. It's a lot. Let's give her space." Ah yes, the overwhelmed mom narrative. So much more comforting than facing the fact that she was excluded on purpose. She didn't reply. She let them talk, which, if you've ever been labeled difficult, is apparently the worst thing you can do. Because silence, that's power, and they hate when you finally learn to use it. By the next day, Linda broke and texted her directly. "I'm sorry you felt hurt. That wasn't my intention. But asking for money back feels petty. You contributed to a family event. Same as everyone. Pause. Same as everyone? She contributed $600. Molly gave $200. Greg forgot to send his until the week before and chipped in $150. So no, not quite the same. Also, she didn't get the same as everyone. Everyone else's kids got a party. Hers got a babysitter. She showed Jason the text. He muttered, "Should have sent an invoice instead." She was tempted. Instead, she wrote back, "It's not about the money. It's about being lied to. If you wanted my kids excluded, you should have had the spine to say that. But telling me it was adults only, then hosting a literal puppet show? That was intentional. I'm just adjusting my involvement accordingly." Linda didn't answer. But you know who did? Molly. She FaceTimed her, looking very proud of herself for taking the high road, which apparently involves a half glass of rosé and starting every sentence with, "I'm just trying to help." "Maya, seriously, can we talk about this without making it a thing?" She blinked. "Without making what a thing?" "You mean the part where my kids weren't invited to a party I helped fund?" Molly sighed. "You always do this. You make everything about exclusion. About Owen. It's exhausting, exhausting." There it was again. Her feelings? Exhausting. Her kids' neurodivergence? Exhausting. Her refusal to shut up and smile through it all? Exhausting. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just said, "We're done pretending this is normal. Tell Linda I meant what I said." Then she hung up. Blocked Molly. For now. That weekend, something unexpected happened. The cousin group chat lit up. Only this time, a few people were on her side. Paige messaged her privately. "I didn't realize your invite said adults only." That's messed up. Then Nina, who's had her own drama with Linda in the past, texted, "I'm proud of you. I know how they are." Apparently, the news had started to spread. The adults-only party was only adult-free for her children. The rest of the family had no such restriction, and people were talking. By Monday, Linda tried a new approach. She called Jason. Yes, she skipped Maya entirely and called her husband, who, by the way, had been about 2 seconds away from cutting them off a year ago. He only kept going to family events because Maya begged him not to make things harder. This time, Linda got him on speaker while he was changing a light fixture in the kitchen. He barely said anything, just listened while she cried about losing her daughter and feeling attacked. Then Linda said, "I know Maya listens to you. Can you please help her understand how much she's hurting everyone?" He turned off the light, paused, then said, "No. She understands perfectly. You're just upset she finally stopped letting it happen." Then he hung up. When he told Maya, she didn't say anything right away. Just stood there staring at him like he was an entirely new species of human. Because in that moment, she realized, he's the first person who's ever backed her without conditions. She was taught love meant tolerance, endurance, emotional gymnastics. Jason taught her love is safety. On Tuesday, Linda sent one last message. "If this is really what you want, to tear the family apart, then I guess there's nothing I can do. But I hope you think about the example you're setting for your kids." And she did. She thought about it a lot. What example was she setting? She was showing them that silence isn't strength, that being included shouldn't require shrinking yourself, that love without respect is just manipulation in a nicer font. That afternoon, she replied, "The example I'm setting is that boundaries, Cracer. That love isn't earned by enduring cruelty. That my children don't have to twist themselves into something palatable to be welcome. You didn't just exclude them. You made them feel like misfits in a family that should have loved them loudest. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a choice. And now I'm making mine no signature, no emoji, just truth. And then she blocked Linda too. Want to know the kicker? The family reunion is falling apart. It was supposed to be in 2 months. The Airbnb isn't booked. The spreadsheet isn't made. No one's coordinated meals, activities, or travel. Because guess who used to do all that? Me. Maya the attention seeker. Maya the dramatic one. Maya who apparently is only valuable when she's silently useful. Without her, the glue is gone, and the cracks are showing. Paige messaged again last night. So, is it bad that I'm kind of glad someone finally said it? Honestly, the way they talk about Owen behind your back has always made me uncomfortable. Behind her back, of course. But not anymore. She's not a secret. Her son isn't a shame, and her silence is no longer available for rent. You'd think blocking her entire immediate family would be enough to make the message clear. But no. They doubled down. Because people like Linda don't retreat when called out. They regroup. And people like Molly? They turn the group chat into a battle strategy session. So when she saw Jason standing by the window one Saturday morning, mug frozen halfway to his mouth, she knew something was off. "You're not going to believe this," he said. She looked up from Owen's cereal-spilled science project. "If it involves clowns, emotional blackmail, or Molly, I'll believe it." He stepped aside. There they were. All 3 of them. Linda, Greg, and Molly, standing on her front porch like they were filming an intervention episode of Dr. Phil, Narcissist Edition. "Don't answer it," she said instinctively. But Jason was already halfway to the door, because he lives for this kind of chaos. He opened it just enough to say, "She doesn't want to talk to you." Linda spoke through the gap like the ghost of every passive-aggressive PTA mom. "We just want to make things right." Right. That's rich. Because making things right apparently involved Greg saying, "You made Evelyn cry," and Molly blurting, "This is literally going to destroy the reunion." That's what they were worried about. Not her kids, not the exclusion. The reunion. She didn't go to the door. She didn't even get off the floor. She just sat there with Owen, gluing glitter to cardboard wings while her family tried to gaslight her from the lawn. Eventually, they gave up. Jason closed the door. Owen said, "Why was Evelyn yelling?" She said, "She thought she was in charge." He nodded solemnly and went back to gluing. The next hit came online. See, their extended family uses this private forum, a message board from the early 2000s that somehow never died. Think of it like Facebook's awkward, nosy cousin. It's where they post reunion plans, birthdays, prayer requests, and the occasional passive-aggressive meme. Molly posted first. A long, sighing message titled, "Family Isn't Supposed to Hurt." It started with, "I debated whether to say anything, but silence enables division." We all know there's been tension lately. Some people have chosen to withdraw from the family and lash out over things that could have been handled with grace. Handled with grace. Let her translate. She was supposed to smile while they excluded her children and handed her the bill. The post went on to say she demanded money back like it was ransom, refused to forgive honest mistakes, and attacked Linda during her milestone birthday. The comments were a mixed bag. Some of the older relatives, people who hadn't seen Maya since 2014, chimed in with supportive pats on the head. "Family is hard, but you only get one. Sounds like someone needs Jesus and a nap." She didn't comment. Not yet. Because when you've spent your whole life being accused of overreacting, you learn to gather receipts before you speak. The next morning, she posted one reply. Just one. She titled it simply, "Setting the Record Straight." Then she attached a PDF. It included a screenshot of her invite. "Adults only. Let's keep it classy." A photo from the party with the glitter-covered kids' table, balloon artist, and magician. Her Venmo transfer of $600, labeled Linda's 60th, per family split. A list of past contributions she'd made. $400 toward the last reunion Airbnb, $300 for Christmas dinner 2 years ago, $250 for Evelyn's 85th birthday cake. A redacted message from Linda joking, "Well, you were always a little dramatic." Owen gets it honestly. And then, her note. I wasn't the one who ruined the reunion. I just stopped organizing it. I wasn't the one who divided the family. I simply pointed out a truth everyone was too polite to say out loud. Not all of us were ever fully accepted here. Some of us were tolerated. Some of us were watched. And some of us were quietly pushed aside. My son wasn't excluded by accident. And I'm not staying quiet about that anymore. Then she logged out. She didn't go back to see the comments, but Jason peeked. Apparently, it broke the forum. Some relatives messaged her privately, thanking her. Others stopped responding altogether. A few texted Linda their support. And one of the older cousins asked if they were still doing the reunion or what. Spoiler, they were not. No one stepped up to host. No one could agree on who was in the group chat or who was causing tension. The whole thing fell apart like a Jenga tower built on denial. So they hosted their own party. Not a reunion, just a birthday. Owen turned 8. They didn't invite everyone. Just a few people who'd stood by them. Paige and her kids, her coworker Marla and her wife, a couple neighbors, and Diane, who quietly left the forum and mailed Owen a card that said, "You fit in exactly as you are." He wore his dragon wings, of course. Theo insisted on being a fire wizard. They had a scavenger hunt, a cupcake bar, and a homemade piñata shaped like a volcano, which Owen lectured them about for scientific inaccuracies, before gleefully smashing it. It was small, peaceful, joyful. At one point, Owen turned to her, frosting on his cheek, and said, "Mom, I really like this party. It's the kind that doesn't make me tired." And she nearly cried into the cupcakes, because that's all she ever wanted. Not perfection, not glittery acceptance, just a place where they could breathe. Sometimes people ask if she regrets how it all unfolded. Number, not even a little. She didn't destroy the family. She just stopped pretending it wasn't already broken. And in the quiet that came afterward, she built something new. Not bigger, not louder, but real. And Owen? He fits just fine, right here. It's been 3 years. Owen's 11 now. Still into dragons, though he's expanded to dinosaurs and marine predators. He once gave a 20-minute TED Talk at the dinner table about the hunting patterns of the Dunkleosteus. Theo pretended to fall asleep halfway through, but they both ended up laughing so hard they cried. She and Jason moved last year. New neighborhood, bigger yard, no emotional landmines buried under family gatherings. And the people who come to their home now? They're the ones who choose to show up with love, not expectations. The reunion? Never recovered. There are still 2 separate family group chats, she thinks. She's not in either. Molly sent a Christmas card once. She didn't open it. And Linda? She still tells people Maya distanced herself. She's not wrong. But the distance? It saved her. And Owen. And that's what Chrisers most. So what do you think? Did she do the right thing? Was she too harsh or not harsh enough? Let her know in the comments. And if you want to hear more stories like this one, hit subscribe.